Daredevil Born Again just released its first 2 episodes tonight, and I wanted to give my first impressions on the show. If you aren't aware, Daredevil Born Again is a continuation of the original Netflix show that started airing about 10 years ago now, I think. And I really loved that show. But coming into Born Again, I was definitely on the more kind of skeptical side. This is mostly because this is being produced under Disney this time around, and their recent track record with Marvel shows has been very spotty, to say the least. And it is no secret that the production of Born Again has been somewhat cursed. They initially shot 6 episodes of the show and then threw the entire thing out and then started over. Any other studio probably would have just cancelled the project at that point, so hopefully the fact that they decided to give it another crack means that there is something worth watching here. I don't know, I haven't watched it yet. As of recording this, I think it's about 10-15 minutes away from releasing. I'm pretty excited for it, but I'm not as excited as I was when they initially announced that they were making the show. I think I'm concerned more than anything at the moment. We'll see how it goes. I'll pass it off to future non-scripted me and we'll see how he's doing. Hi there, future me here. So after watching the first 2 episodes, I'm enjoying the show so far, but I do have a few hang-ups here and there. I won't be spoiling anything major plot-wise. I'll refrain from commenting too much on the story in general because I do want to see the full thing before I comment on the quality of the story as a whole. And so far I think the story's good, but there is a bit of a tonal shift coming from, the old Daredevil series into this new one. I do think it was a good idea to start the show, like on the streets with Karen and Foggy and Matt. All the old actors slip into their characters very quickly and very kind of effortlessly. The show does a lot of cool stuff, I think, with Matt and Karen. I think every time they're on screen together, they have a great dynamic, and those two are the highlights of the show. It's a shame we don't see them together that much because it does feel like the show does want to kind of move on and do other things. Kingpin feels very different since the last time we've seen him. It doesn't matter if, the last time you saw him was in Hawkeye, Echo, or the last Daredevil series. I think everyone is going to notice he feels different. This is definitely done on purpose, but he definitely feels like as a character he has lost a lot of the gravitas that he used to have. Also, Vanessa is in the story again, and I think she's great. They're playing a lot of the cards about her character close to the chest, I feel like. Same with Kingpin. It's just a matter of seeing how things shake out, but, everyone who was part of the old cast that has returned feels great. The side characters, though, I'm not really warming up to. I know there's a couple of characters in the Kingpin side of the story that people are definitely going to dislike. There's some dipshit guy, his name's Daniel. I think he's meant to be hateable, but I can't stand him anytime he's on screen. Yeah, pretty much everyone new to the story, it's probably going to take a bit of time to warm up to because they've just kind of thrust all of these people upon us and they don't really have... I think the writing in general is a little bit less subtle. And so it's kind of hard to, care for these characters that used to have 3 dimensions of depth to them. And so far, the ones that we've got right now, just not quite there yet. Give it time, maybe we'll see how it goes. Of the 2 episodes, I found myself liking the second one much more than the first. The first episode does feel like it was setting up the new status quo, while the second one feels like it was carrying the momentum forward with the story a bit more. Both episodes, I would say, is good. Yeah, it's just kind of getting over the tonal shift. I think it's just the first episode is doing a lot of the work trying to get people on board with the way the show is going to be from now on. So speaking of how the show has kind of changed, or the things that haven't changed, is that the show is still pretty grimy. There's a bit more kind of light, and it's lost that kind of, yellow tinge and really dark lighting that the old series used to have. This one is a lot more lighter, but it's still pretty brutal, which I do love. There's still a lot of violence, there's a lot of swearing, it hasn't lost its edge, which I do like. And there were 2 fight scenes in these episodes that were released. The first one wasn't great. There was a lot of CGI smoke, and it was kind of obscuring the action a bit. It was hard to focus on the things that it felt like the action wanted you to focus on because the camera felt very static for the most of it. It was meant to be trying to be a one-up, but yeah, with most one-ers, they try and hide the cuts of the action, and this one you could definitely see every time that they, cut it and they added CGI. But the CGI in the show doesn't look very good. There are a couple of very early scenes that look kind of woeful, but that passes pretty quickly, and once, the show kind of settles into a more grounded nature, then that's where it starts to get better. The second fight scene is much more brutal, and I liked it a lot more, even if it was shot, very kind of quick cut which I'm not usually a fan of, but it worked. I definitely liked the second one a lot more. Also, speaking of what I like the new theme song for the show. It builds upon the old one by quite a lot. I'm not sure about all the visuals during the opening credits. I'm not so much a fan of that, but I do like the new opening theme. I think it's great. There is a lot more licensed music in this show. There were 3 tracks, I'm pretty sure. One by The Kills, one by TV on the Radio, and another one by The Vines. All songs that seem like they were ripped straight out of my Spotify playlist, so even though I feel like it's weird to hear them, I can't really complain because I really like these songs. So the Vines needle drop might not have the intended effect that I think the people making the show thought it would. To me, it was just kind of very funny. I'd like to see how other people thought about it, because it might have been trying to evoke different emotion, but I just thought it was really funny. But the TV on the Radio track, I love TV on the Radio, and it was very, very fitting for what the show was trying to go for. Something that I don't really like in this show so far is the camera work and cinematography. It is kind of very whack. There's a lot of times where it feels like the show is using digital zooms. I'm not sure if that is digital zooms, so I'd have to look back, but it definitely feels like it. The show also likes to play around with aspect ratios a bit, which is also very strange. I rarely ever find that it ever works when a show tries to do this. And yeah, it happens to varying degrees of success. When it's at its best, it's when, Matt is trying to kind of focus in on someone with his super hearing, and the aspect ratio kind of, lowers and focuses in. And I thought that was really cool. Although I think they only used it once. The times I don't think it works so much is when they do these kind of on the ground news segments. It's very kind of reminiscent of the Raimi Spider-Man movies, where they would be on the ground and get the people's perspective of Spider-Man throughout the movie. And this is kind of the same thing, except with kind of more of a political spin within the show's world. Yes, the show is a little bit political because, a part of the show is about Kingpin trying to become mayor. The show, trying to take a stance on vigilantes and stuff like that. I think the ground segments work, but I don't like how they kind of slot it in. It's always jarring when the show cuts to them, but I do like the content of it. All in all, I think it's a good start. It's not the perfect start that I would have thought I wanted, but yeah, it's kind of weird to see some of the characters just get kind of sanded down. A lot of their dialogue is a bit more there's a lot less kind of subtlety going on. And that's part of, the show being made by different people and slightly different writers and stuff like that, but overall, I think it's good. I don't think it's great. I'm definitely interested to watch more. It's not like a disaster or anything. Just nice. It's definitely a step above a lot of the Marvel shows of late, so we'll definitely take that. But yeah, again, we'll have to see where it goes, but my first impressions are good. I will keep with the show, and we'll probably look at this one again when the whole season is finished and wrapped up. So that's all I've got to say for now. This one was a bit more of an unscripted look, but so far I think it's good, and I think if you're a fan of the old Daredevil Netflix series, then this is worth a watch. So thanks for watching this video. If you liked it, then give it a like, and if you are new, then think about subscribing. Thanks to my YouTube members Controlled Killer, Yellow, and Melodia. That's all for this one, and I will see you all soon with a game review of some kind. Catch you later.